Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of your favorite podcast, Church Culture.
Hello.
Wow. Anyway, hello. This week we're in Leviticus. JP and Manio's favorite book of the Bible. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Follow us on Insta. We're on Spotify. Rumble. Can you believe we're on Rumble?
We are?
You're on Rumble.
What's Rumble?
Oh, wow.
Royal Rumble.
That I know.
Let's get ready to rumble. Anyway, so we're on Spotify. Video Spotify.
What?
Yeah, and then we're still on Apple Podcasts. So if you can't see us, if you're driving, whatever, listen to the Apple one.
Yes.
But then when you get home, also listen to, if you can,
Try to see.
open up 3 browsers. Open up a Spotify one, a YouTube one, and a Rumble, so we can get all of these.
Play it all at the same time.
Exactly.
There you go.
If you want, you don't have to, whatever.
Challenge
All
accepted.
right, so we're getting into Leviticus. We're starting off with the rib.
The rib.
It's a lot of sacrifice stuff.
You can. Well,
Now the rib.
can you eat ribs? If it's pork, you can't. Let's get into that.
Wasn't it?
We
pretty much
haven't
about
touched that yet. I don't think.
Was that this week or next week?
No, I'm pretty sure it's this one.
Yeah.
Isn't it about the sacrifices and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The unclean and clean and the kosher, all that stuff.
Being sick and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it away, Rick.
Being clean.
Well, I've never really liked Leviticus. Maybe because I always had the King James Spanish. I didn't understand a word. But now,
You are thoueth, eateth,
that's all I had.
the hooved animal. I don't know why I'm speaking like that, but
Yeah, so we are in Leviticus. Even the lady, the Tara, the podcast lady,
Terry Lee Cobble.
Tara Lee, she's even like, yeah, you bear with us. Because it's a lot of old laws that obviously we don't do now, but some things that we will debate or y'all will talk about that, like, oh, is it? Should we follow them? Like, what'd you say? The pork and tattoos,
Look, it's simple. You either do it all or you don't do anything.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's also with the house too, right? If it gets infected, you gotta take it out. This and that. It's a lot of.
or if an infected touches you, you gotta burn offering and all that. It's a lot of offerings. And I guess that's like something you obviously you have to do because Jesus wasn't here yet. So, now that we have Jesus, we don't have to be show, like, how do you say it? Like, you know what I mean?
No, I
What
don't.
are you trying to say?
Like, I can't with words. Like that's how we show, like that's how I guess he forgives us, or like, atone for our sins. We have to do something.
It was just like a band-aid for now.
Kinda, yeah. And that's what God said to do, and that's what they
It's
did.
pretty much what he did in Garden of Eden.
Yes,
He sacrificed a lamb to cover them.
correct.
Now he's just making it to more of a commandment type of thing.
So
Well, I mean, because it's either you or the animal,
basically,
because the consequence of sin is death. So someone has to die. Someone has to shed blood. Blood covers sin. So it's either the animal or you.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, right? Like they have to sacrifice an animal for gratitude and for sin. That's a lot of barbecue.
And it has to be unblemished.
yeah.
Yes,
I think that's what Jesus had to come, because they had to be unblemished. Somebody who didn't commit sin. The animal had to be a perfect animal, pretty much.
And it's interesting that the God always says, "I want all the fat, all of it, like everything from the animal that's fat. You burn it for me,
Amen.
because that is like the tastiest part of whatever the meat you're trying to cook. I mean, when you smell it, you're burning. But that's interesting, right? Because I kind of remembered that whenever you're doing barbecue, right, and some of the fat drips off, what happens? The fire just it explodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need a bigger fire to burn this in, and fat gets you there.
Mm-hmm. That's why it sucks cooking burgers out in the grill, because all the
Interesting.
fat and the fire.
What depends what kind of, we got like 60-40 probably.
Oh, speaking my language.
No, we got
You know,
80-20.
You need it, yeah,
We
or
got it.
90,
60.
10,
I feel my arteries already clogging up.
or 95 and 5.
I want the shirt.
What does it say?
All the fat is the Lord's. What's the dude working out?
Amen. With Leviticus.
Leviticus 3.
Send me a pic so I can put it up on the screen.
My Bible says in the beginning that
Excuse you is called the Bible.
my Bible says holiness is
You don't even read it. I don't know why you're saying it.
I know, I just get the summary.
holiness is mentioned more times than in any other book of the Bible. In this Bible. So I guess the theme of it is God's trying to teach the Israelites how to live a holy life by doing all these things. All these laws that they have. So I
What
don't know.
does holy mean?
Good question.
Separate from sin, I guess.
What do you think?
Because one of the questions that I saw here was that it asks, what is unclean? What does it mean to be unclean? What does it mean to be cleaned? And then what does it mean to be holy? So I'm guessing unclean is,
Unholy?
well,
You're dirty.
well, yeah, like physically dirty, like hygiene. Because I think that's what God was trying to get through them. Because I think He was giving them more like advice, not even advice, or commandments to be hygienic. Because of all the diseases and stuff like that, they didn't want them to cross-contaminate and all that stuff. So that's unclean, right? You don't want to be dirty. But then there's clean, where it's like you separating or like getting clean from all the filth and the dirt and the germs or whatever. But holy, I think it means to be set apart. I think that's more of the spiritual part of it.
What is this? How does it say in the New Testament? You're a chosen people, holy priesthood, royal priesthood, something like
That have been set apart.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So holy, I think, means set apart. Well, I mean, I think that's also consecration. Consecration means to be set apart from sin. But where do you because remember the priests are the only ones who go into the holy of holies, right? Because then there's a holy, the holy holies, holy, then the altar, then that's the whole breakdown of the tabernacle. Do you want to get into that? Thank you so much for joining us.
Read it on your own.
Was it 3 sections? The outskirts, the inner, and then the holy holies?
The holy.
Yeah. So
Again, the 3. Time, space, and matter.
power in threes.
Wow.
So anyway, Moses and the Israelites began construction of the Ark of the Covenant and the tabernacle and the altar of bronze.
Did it say how long it took to build it?
Well, it's a good question, but I'm pretty sure.
they had some Mexicans, it'd be done in a day.
Well, because it says, and I can't remember what chapter it says that, but it was finally built on the second year that they came out of Egypt. So it was within the first year that they built everything. So
Dang. So that means they didn't. So that was like a portable then. Was that portable?
yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
they
okay.
pick it up and
We'll take
Where-
it with them.
Porter
It-
presents.
yeah.
Porter presents.
Yeah, because the night guy will come down with the fire
And
to bright them, and then a cloud in the morning
And
to shadow them.
mm-hmm.
Very true.
Yeah. And so, and also, I think this is part 2 where Aaron and his family are called to be the priest.
And people die.
You know what? What do you think? Do you think his son's dying was the punishment for him building the calf and throwing people under the bus?
Well, I thought it was because they did something.
Yes, yes, of course. They were drunk and they went to the Holy of Holies and they died. But look, because remember the response from Aaron when Moses told him, "Hey, like, these are the rules. I mean, you kind of have to accept it. I mean, they were grown men, so it's not like you can." And it says that I think Aaron like held back, saying, "Yeah, it's probably from the thing that I did before, where 3,000 people died." You know, I don't know. That's just my opinion. It doesn't explicitly say that. I just think that, I mean, sin, the consequences are still going to come back and haunt you, maybe. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I mean, it goes back to the wages of sin is death. I mean, they didn't have Jesus to take the death for them. So, I mean, look at what was it, last week or a week or two, where we talked about God just killing somebody. Who was it? Who did he kill?
Oh, he killed, it was Tamar's,
His son, right?
who was it? Levi's. Yeah, Levi's son, right?
Yeah, because he was wicked.
Yeah, he
And
just
the
died.
second one came out wicked too. So it's just
Well, not that he came out wicked. He didn't want to impregnate the wife, or But yeah. So what's the difference between killing and murder?
What?
Premeditated and not premeditated.
Yeah, I think that's it.
You plan to murder somebody, or just a consequence of, there was an accident.
Something. Yeah.
There was an accident, somehow he died. Like you didn't intend to. It just happened. As the other one was, I'm gonna kill him because he's done something, or I don't like him, or
because God will tell you to kill somebody, but it's not murder. It was because of something. It's because of his plan or something. And it's crazy you say that, Manny, that premeditating, whatever, because one of the instructions that were given was that if they accidentally sin, they still have to sacrifice an animal, like not knowingly.
How do you accidentally sin?
Yeah, I know.
You're like, oops,
and
I
they have to move
accidentally got
cities.
drunk.
They can go flee to a city. They have to make cities too. Accidentally sin, or
Like
accidentally
sanctuary
kill.
cities.
Yeah, if you accidentally kill, that happens.
X-Files.
Accident. Oh, okay.
There's accidents and everything. Let's just say you're building a scaffold, or you're moving a stick and somehow you didn't see him and you hit him and you kills him. You're working or you're doing something, or you have your axe and it.
Yeah, if it was legitimately an accident, then it's still a sin because you're not supposed to kill people. So, or sin like any other way, whatever. So you still have to sacrifice. Man, poor animals.
It must have been a lot of animals then.
Because think about it, every single day for 3 million people. Like, no one's gonna sin? Imagine killing 3 million animals. Jeez.
Get the population.
Look, one of the questions here says, does the sacrificial system trouble you?
What does that mean? Does it bother you?
Are you offended from this place?
I mean, Peter would probably, but...
You're vegan? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know, like, looking at it back from now, I understand why this had to happen. Like, someone has to pay the price for the sin. And God graciously said you can kill the animal, and his blood, or the blood of the animal, can cover sin.
What animals were they?
It was like rams, goats, sheep.
Different kinds.
You were poor, like a dove, or...
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
See,
right.
he's even gracious enough to the poor people.
Yeah,
they
she
sin
mentioned
too.
Because they can't afford a big old calf or whatever. And she had mentioned it, I think today, that Mary and Joseph, when they had to sacrifice, they did the dove or something like that because they were poor. I'm like, oh, it made a connection. So.
But do you think it gave them like this sense of laziness, or not laziness? What would you call it? Like, they can go and sin and they can just sacrifice the animal anyway.
Like a way out type of thing.
Yeah, like a band-aid. Well, like you were saying, right? Like a band-aid.
Yeah, it was just to cover. It wasn't to.
It's like they know, oh, I could sin. I could just go kill a ram.
That's a good point. It was just to cover the sin. It wasn't to forgive it.
Yeah,
So how does he forgive it then?
he didn't. That's why.
That's why Jesus died on the cross. He forgave all sins.
And that's why everybody thinks when he went down to the center of the earth, he got those people that were there in the Abraham's bosom.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Because it wasn't forgiven. It was just covered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all these people are
just chilling until Jesus died.
Yeah.
The what was it called?
Abraham's bosom.
No. The waiting period. What was it called? Yes, when you die. No.
Purgatory?
Yeah, they were in purgatory.
I don't think they're in purgatory.
It's
No?
just,
Is that something else?
Abraham's bosom.
Y'all Catholic now?
That's a Catholic thing.
Oh, really?
Christian thing.
Oh, you mentioned it. Because you were a former Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I'm like a former atheist.
So what does that mean? His bosom, like a hidden place?
You haven't read Daniel when he talks about that?
We haven't got there.
We haven't got to Daniel, man.
God, only in Leviticus.
But that's a story that's always been talked about. How do you not know?
Do you not remember my King James version?
There's
How dare you now read it?
Speaking of that, let me read
Daniel.
the news. It has 4 different translations, right? So in the message, it's going to say, Mama, I'm hungry. In the Amplified version, it's going to say, Mommy, I am hungry. The NIV is going to say, Mother, I am hungry. And the King James is going to say, Henceforth, let it be known unto thee, birth giver, that my belly consists of birth giver.
That's King James for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these days you can always translate it from the original now. There's that program called eSword too. You can kind of go more for the original Greek manuscript. Yeah, on your computer, and it has a lot of Bible. And you can kind of compare it. Or have like the word. Let's just say you want that word. What does it mean? And the actual, and then it'll give you the definitions.
The meaning.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't your PC.
So there's a lot of like symbolism in what God is saying, right? Like the oil means to be set apart, but it was just a symbol of what God was trying to do because Jesus was not there yet. So what do y'all think about churches still using the anointed oil or whatever? What do y'all think about that?
Talk to my mom.
Well, they still
Talk to your mom.
Talk to my mom.
Well, they should do it in the New Testament.
No, yes, but I mean it because it's just symbolic because now we're not in the Old Testament anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just symbolic now. Back then this was holy oil and you were literally like set apart.
Yeah, well, it's still symbolic now.
That's what I mean. It's symbolic now. Back then it was literal.
I think it's still good.
As symbolic.
Yeah, it's just like, and it doesn't have to be like sanctified oil from, straight from Jerusalem. Like when my dad came to pray for the house.
Straight from Eden.
Straight from Eden, yeah. He's like, do you have any oil? I'm like, no. So he got a little bit of the avocado oil and he prayed for us.
Yeah, it's symbolic.
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It's so nice, man.
It's not like my mom. She has a special oil bottle where the top is a cross. Yeah.
Sanctified.
Sanctified oil.
Where'd she get it from?
She takes it to a pastor and the pastor prays for it, and then before the pastor prays for it, it's just oil. But when the pastor prays for it, it becomes anointing oil. Yeah.
So if I touch it, I'll burn myself or something?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Because you're unclean.
You're unclean. You heathen.
Jesus loves me.
The Bible
Does he?
says so.
I think. Oh, that was Jesus. Sorry. The gardener. Anyways, moving on. How fitting we're in Leviticus. Anyways, so we're in Leviticus, right? The tabernacle, before it was built, even after it was built, it was called the tent of meeting. And there was a lot of sacrifices, as we talked about before. So one of the instructions was that the way you need to like sacrifice an animal because of not only sin, but you could also sin by not saying like testifying, like sin by omission.
Oh yeah, you were saying that, right? Remember?
What?
That you are. You said that.
Did I?
Yeah.
What?
Why?
Hey,
What did I say?
that when he said that it's a sin to not share your testimony, right? Or like to. Oh, I don't know.
Like
No, it's not coming back.
whenever you're called to testify or to proclaim your sins, and you don't say anything, you still take the
it's
the
like
consequence of the
it's bad if you don't self-report, basically.
right. Basically, yeah.
Gotcha.
I also found it interesting that for the most part, I don't know if y'all saw anything different than me, where it says the animals that were sacrificed were females.
All of them?
Yeah.
To get them from the kitchen.
Why?
I have an
Did it say
interesting
why?
theory. I didn't look this up. I just thought of it.
You think it's because Eve was the one that broke the covenant? It was a female?
That's another good point, but no, that's not what I thought. But also, because maybe think about it, where the female is the only one who gives birth. So if you take away the female, you pretty much take away the chances of making more animals. So it wasn't really much. I mean, it was to sacrifice and to cover the sin, right? But it also had like this double punishment to where if you didn't, or if you sinned and a female animal was sacrificed, you would then lose more chances of making more animals. I don't know. It's just in my head. I don't know if.
So they.
Maybe I'm just dumb. Whatever. I don't know.
So they were doing female animals?
Yes, a female. It specifically says a female calf or female sheep. I don't know if it's all the time, but that's what I saw. I could be wrong, but I think the reason would be because they'd have no other. They have no. It reduces more of the population of the animals because you're getting rid of or you're sacrificing the females.
But why would they want to get rid of all the animals? So you can have nothing to sacrifice? I don't mean.
That's a good point. I'm just throwing it out there because.
Or to show, hey, well, stop sinning because there's nothing else. We're running low on animals.
There you go.
I don't know.
I mean, we didn't have CRISPR back then where they can make it without a womb.
How did they kill them? I guess they just slaughtered them? Did it say how?
I mean, it was just sacrifice. I mean, it was basically burn them, right?
Burn them alive?
I thought they were killed first because it's something with the blood. It had to be put somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure it was like a process or something.
They stabbed them. They drained out the blood and then.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Oh.
Like they do in the rancho.
Interesting.
Rancho Grande. So then, yeah, we talked about the poor people could bring turtle doves, and because only the rich people were able to afford rams and sheep and stuff.
How did these people get money?
Well, remember.
Did they bring it with them?
Yeah, remember they pillaged. Remember when God was telling them, "Hey, get ready because tonight it might be a go time." They pillaged all the Egyptians. They took everything, gold. That's how they built the calf, and then that's how they have all these things to build the tabernacle and stuff because they pillaged Egypt.
Oh, and not everybody got the same amount.
Right.
Well.
So.
Gotcha.
So I talked about that all the fat belongs to God, right?
Yes, he loves the fat.
Yeah. Because I think it burns more. So
There's a savory smell.
Oh, it's the best.
I never thought about it, and I always thought like, what? But have you ever thought about like when you were in the morning or something, you smell something like that delicious? I was like, I don't want it, but it's just smelling it. It just gives you gratitude, or just like, wow, that's smell,
like bacon.
Yeah, or like you pass by a taqueria or something, you smell something delicious. Like sometimes I'm not hungry, but just smelling it gives you this kind of just pleasure. It's like I don't know. I think that's what God.
Yeah, it's like a sweet aroma. Well,
Yeah.
not sweet, but it's a pleasing aroma.
Yeah.
That's why he wanted all the fat. Like he was even taking it from the liver, from the intestines and all that. Like every single fat. Like no, I'm getting that's mine.
Yeah.
So I mean, they had no fat. They just ate protein. It's crazy. Anyway, so we're moving on. Oh yeah, so then talked about Aaron's sons dying. They said that I don't know where I read it, or maybe the lady in the podcast said that they might have been drunk, and that's why they stumbled into the Holy of Holies, and that's probably why they died.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah. Dead.
R.I.P.
And then they do the Day of Atonement, right?
Yeah, so that's called
Yom Kippur.
yes. So Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement, where the priest goes every year into the Holy of Holies.
Which is Aaron, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we talked about the blood being sacrificed for human sin. Oh, and this is I think the first, or not that it's the first time, but God outlaws inbreeding.
Oh yes,
yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
He finally stops it.
Well, yeah, perk up right away.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess he sees. We got enough people now. We can stop this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because there's I think the lady explains, right, there's like 3 million people, so like you can probably find
Somebody else.
Yeah. All right, so now we get to the juicy stuff.
What juicy stuff?
Leviticus 18:22.
1822.
Let's talk about it, gentlemen.
Mistakes.
Yes. Do not have sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman. That is detestable.
You hear that, JP?
Did it offend you, Abraham? Like Barry.
My God.
Eesh.
All right, JP, go off. Tell them you can't be doing this.
I mean, what? It says it. It's word for word there. You can't do it. It's sin. But
Oh, there's a but.
going back to what you said, if we take one thing, we gotta take the whole thing. So, where are we going with this? Obviously, we believe that sexual relations with a male is wrong. It's gay. They should be doing that. But we also gotta take don't eat the pork. Don't do markings on your skin. No piercings. Like Manuel can't get that little earring on the right ear he wants to get. So that takes us to our conundrum. Do we take Leviticus as a whole, or do we not? Because we can't be cafeteria Christians picking and choosing what we want. Because
Why not?
Because that verse is used a lot by Christians, but yet they choose to ignore the rest of Leviticus. So what should we do?
Because the pork politics, he says it in the future. Why you can eat it.
Okay, that covers the pork, but what about the piercings, the marking to your skin? I believe it says don't even cut your hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have short hair.
Yeah.
Women or men?
Men.
Men? I thought men were supposed to have short hair and women were supposed to have long hair. Only if there was that special, like in the New Testament, there were like Jesus, like I forgot the name of it. They had to let their hair grow, or like Samson, he had to let his hair grow.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't cut it. Well, they were a Nazarite or Nazarite something. Well, they couldn't shave their beards, right? Or
Yeah, I mean, so we take.
oh, I think they couldn't cut their hair really short. Like they couldn't go bald.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it.
They had to have it just like regular. They couldn't have it long. They couldn't go bald. They couldn't shave it like to go bald.
Oh, and also they introduce turbans. They have to wear turbans too.
What's a turban? Or like a little hat or something.
The
Say
thing
something,
that
but
they
no, I can't.
Oh.
what?
gonna say something, but I can't. I'll say it.
Just say it. I'll believe it.
You gotta cut this part out. It's what the terrorists swear.
I'm keeping it in. So, you notice too that God talks a lot about leprosy, skin diseases, and stuff like that. That was like very contagious.
Mhm.
I guess that was really like prominent back then. It's kind of reminds me of the bubonic plague. Remember, it's kind of the same thing. The sores, open sores, and
Yeah.
these that were contagious.
Well, we get stuck to the walls that you had to take out the walls. That can be cool. That's when you know it's what is it called? Viruses and stuff, biologics,
Yeah.
live viruses.
So one of the questions here says, when God gives detailed instructions about what to eat, what not to eat, and how to deal with skin diseases and household mold, does it feel more controlling or loving to you? Why might the Israelites need to hear these instructions?
Because they nasty.
Could be part of it. I mean, you're in the
Wilderness.
the desert.
You're gonna go through all these little insects and animals and weather. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's controlling? Or do you think it's loving to where... Because I think God pretty much explains it, right? He's like, this is what's going to happen if you don't do this, you don't do that. But given like this modern culture of people just trying to be independent, whatever, like, would you take that advice from somebody if they told you, hey, don't do this, don't eat that, and clean your house, be hygienic? Like, would that be controlling to you?
I don't know. Dr. Peterson did it.
Depends on the person.
I mean, that should be normal, no? Like,
I think he was probably just testing them. Maybe because a lot of times they didn't want to
Maybe.
listen.
yeah.
Remember with the manna? Like he goes, these people, they're not doing what I tell them to do something, they're not doing it. So I wonder if he was just doing it also to weed them out or to see who's paying attention to him.
Who's faithful, who's obedient.
Or who's going to be offended? Like, if you get easily offended because someone's trying to protect you, like knowing that, yeah, these things, because leprosy was very like frowned upon. Like, they would put you outside of the city gates because you were contagious.
Mhm.
So, like, why would you think this be controlling? I mean, they were already been controlled in Egypt, so why does this bother you now just because you're outside of it?
I think it goes back to what rules are being placed. Like when they were in Egypt, they were enslaved, kind of thing. But now they're free. But God's now like, all right, these are kind of
Follow these rules.
some housekeeping rules to kind of keep your life in check, kind of like the 10 Commandments. Do this and you'll be good.
So if you were to tell her, only eat this, you can't eat that, shower 3 times a day, would that be controlling to you?
If it was the opposite and she had good reason for that, I don't think so.
But you in all your benevolence and dignity and presence, being God, you tell her this is what's right for you, so you have to do this. Would you feel like that's controlling?
I guess it depends on the person. Like you said, he's trying to weed them out. He's trying to see if it offends you or not. I don't know. It depends on the person.
But you,
Me personally? Well, no, I guess not.
but
I'm alive.
put yourself in their shoes. Like you're a year out of Egypt. You have no idea what's going on. You've been following this pillar of light, the fire, this cloud, whatever at night of light by night. Like you're seeing a bunch of things. You haven't even like processed everything yet because something new keeps going on and on and on. You see God descend from a mountain. Like, given that state of mind, then some weird presence in the mountain tells Moses to tell you can't do this and that.
I think that's where faith comes in. Just need to have faith.
That's when you know you're part of God. How can they not listen? They were enslaved. They never had a choice. God's just telling them what to do, and now they're not going to listen. And then it reminds me of the future when they don't want to do it, but yet in the future when they want a king, and God's telling them, Samuel's telling them, he's going to make y'all do this. You're going to work for him, and they gladly took it. And then right here, they're not going. I guess he's just checking them out because of over here they're complaining. Then in the future, they want somebody, they want a king, and Samuel tells them, that he's going to take over your lives. You're going to pretty much live for him. And they're all excited and they say, yes, we're going to do whatever,
So, yeah, I think you're right. They don't know what they don't know, in the sense that whenever they get out, they're used to already being under a king. And so they're out in this wilderness, and supposedly there is this presence in the mountain that's telling them what to do. So they don't know who it is, but they're trusting in Moses to tell them, to guide them the right way. So do you really blame them? Do you think God went too far as to giving them a bunch of chances and then them still rejecting him? You think they're spoiled now too much, where they kind of teeter-totter from this free will, or do what God is telling us to do? I know it's a very deep thing to think about, but I think there's the story is right on the line, where, not that I'm blaming God that he did too much or whatever. He knows what he's ultimately doing, and we all know, right, what happens. But in this moment, given their state of mind, their state of what's going on, are they in the right? Do they have the right to feel the way they feel and do the things that they do because they're going into something they don't know? They're trusting in this guy who, I don't know. That's what you think it's really their fault?
Yeah, because they can just leave if they want. My house, my rules. God's taking care of them. He's just telling you, follow this. If not, he also says if they don't want to participate, or they don't want to get, if they want to, get, I forgot what it's called. But if they didn't want to do that, they won't be part of the people no more. So he's also giving them a chance. He's not saying you're gonna die if you choose not to. You're just not gonna be part of it. I'm thinking he's just gonna be this is my house, this is my rules. You can follow them. If you're not, you don't have to circumcise. Remember when he was that people don't want to get circumcised, then they're not gonna be part of the people.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. So
I think it goes back to what you're saying, JP, is the faith. I think they had so much
They were
shown
used
to them.
I think they were just used to being slaves, and they're not used to freedom.
Yeah, you're right. I think they were shown. I don't know. Do you think if we had those kind of miracles now as they had back then, would your faith grow, or would it be like theirs? Oh, it's just common now. This happens. This stuff happens. So
Just couldn't be common.
Because it never says on here what their reaction was, right?
I mean, they complained all the time.
No, their reaction to the miracles.
I'm pretty sure they were in awe. I would be.
We don't know.
But they would be, because they already saw some of these things happen when God parted the sea, whatever. But it's like a car crash. That example, right? You can't look away, but you know what's gonna happen. You've seen it so many times, but you're still looking. You're still in awe, right? So I think, I don't know. I don't think we're kind of desensitized to car crashes, but I don't know. Could we possibly be desensitized to God's miracles if they happen today?
I think so.
What do you think?
I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah, I think back then it just happened so much that it's just probably not say.
And they saw it also with the Egyptians. So they always saw a lot of magic stuff too. So they saw with the Egyptians too, and then they saw. So it wasn't so I guess when God allowed it, everybody was doing it, but God just did things more. He took it to another level. And I'm pretty sure them in their hearts are well, the Egyptians could do this stuff too.
All the plagues and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like living in the hood. Living in the hood, you used to the gunshots.
Tell us about the hood.
Living in the hood, you're used to the gunshots, you're used to the drive-bys, you're used to all that stuff. And now living here next to the police academy, we live literally right next to the range. Gunshots all day and night. It's
Feels like home.
feels like home. I'm desensitized to gunshots now. It's just like that.
So I would probably assume and say that we have it better now to where we just have to have faith. Not that it's easy, but I think if we had been shown all these miracles, like you said, we'd be desensitized. And we'd be like, oh, it's just another thing that God's doing. Look at him go. You know? And it's so horrible to say that, but
No,
I think now I'm kind of grateful that we live in these times that we don't have to depend on signs and miracles to believe in them. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. Remember when Jesus came, he did a lot, and people still didn't believe.
Yeah.
That's why he said that generation was the worst, because he says they probably wasn't even that common as back then. So when they saw him do it, they didn't even want to believe him. And that's what made that one even worse. Just like now, like if he came down and started making miracles, and you saw face to face, and you're like, whatever. You don't want to believe him. I think that's even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Do y'all got anything else that we forgot to cover?
Nah.
All right, guys. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for reading the Bible with us. First timers here who haven't read it. Man is a biblical scholar, so
he doesn't even need to read it.
right.
He already has it up
in
here.
his head. Yeah.
He wrote the Bible.
You were there, man?
No, I was not there.
You saw the pillar of fire in the in the cloud. All right. So thanks guys for tuning in. Check us out on the socials. Follow us. Remember, open up 3 tabs. Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble, and subscribe because none of you are subscribed. It's like 5 of my accounts, and we have 9 subscribers.
8-1, 8-2.
Exactly. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for reading the Bible with us, and we'll be back
Next week
with another one. So we'll see y'all then. Peace.